Welcome to assignment 2, cash register. I'll be trying to briefly go over this. So the main activity contains basically the majority of the logic implementation, contains the creation of all the buttons we see here, including the buy button. The manager implementation is outside. It's in the manager activity, which controls both the restock activity and the history activity. But briefly in here we're creating the instance. So the instance to initialize all the data resources, including the initialization of the buttons, of the set on click listeners, and the list data itself. So these ones. Down here, we're just putting on click listeners, initializing the list data, and binding into the adapter. And here we have the selection or logic of the on click rather. So if we click the buy button, then we have a check statement. So if the total is empty, we have all fields are required, right? So we go into the toast. If we have a selection, we press the buy button and it goes through successfully, meaning it's not empty, then we have the buy dialog or show dialog appear. In here, we have the clear button, so it just resets all the values in the text fields. The buy button manager basically tells us what to do next after the buy. And then the default is for all the other buttons, right? So the button manager is this button right here, which goes into other activities. And then this, by default, all the other buttons are just selections, right? And we use string concatenation to remember those selections and the indices depending on whichever selection we've made in terms of the product. And then once we buy, once again, in here we have the on item click listener. So again, on item click. So again, once again, whatever we decide to buy, we have to update the value, right? So and then this is the show alert once the purchase is made. And here we're actually starting to implement part 2 that includes a date and a history. Okay, so if we fast forward into my app, in here we hard-coded some data to begin with, and we have 2 arrays, product list and history list, to keep track of these products and update them. In the manager activity right here, so when we go into the manager activity, we're displayed with 2 choices, right? So 2 other buttons, history and restock. If we go into history, then we have to implement the history button. If we go into restock, we implement the restock button. Let's go into the history button. So inside the history, you will see a listing of all the histories, which would be just down here, right? So show history activity. So this is where we're at right now. And then the history is, the detail history activity would contain that history inside of it. If we go back, if we go back into restock, then here we'll be able to select whichever products we want and the quantity of the product. So here's the implementation of the restock solution right here, right? So depending on the click, would be added to set the text. And then we have, finally, we have the recycler, right? So inside the history, we're recycling the views. So whatever basically elements appear here, they're being recycled using this logic right here. Thank you.